Tennis 605 here with Mike Zerr, the coach at Brandon Valley. Thanks for taking a little time to visit with us today.
Absolutely, anytime.
You know, could you imagine a better day to be having a state tournament than it is right here?
I mean, we've been pretty lucky all year with the weather, and I mean, there's no reason that it should be any different now. You know, Sioux Falls does a good job hosting it, and I mean, it's just a beautiful day to play down here at McKinnon too. So,
you know, and tennis is one of the games that weather does have a big impact, wind or rain or whatever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's always the same for both players. You know, and it really does show who the mentally stronger players are when you have to deal with bad weather. You know, but I mean, we play tennis in South Dakota. I mean, 10 miles an hour wind here is a lot different than 10 miles an hour wind in Miami or, you know, one of those professional places and things like that. So the kids are used to it and they deal with it however, but I mean, of course they'd rather play when it's 70 and sunny like it is today. So
speaking of people who'd rather play when it's 70 and sunny, tell us a little bit about that Brandon Valley program.
You know, Mark Schleckaway, you know, has did a really good job before I came there, and building it to something that, you know, is a relevant program in South Dakota. You know, and when you have great players like, you know, a Bill Trevelyan and things like that that come through your program, you know, that helps to build things up. You know, we've got some families like the Muchikanauses and the Blues that have been around for a really long time, you know, and they start to, you know, their kids start to, you know, believe in what you're doing and what you're saying when they see their older brothers and sisters and their family have success here. You know, and that's truly what, you know, our Brandon program is. It's very much a small town. You know, it's very much a small town feel of a program, but just in a much bigger school. You know, we've got a bunch of kids that are really excited about it. You know, we've got some young kids that are really athletic. You know, and my deal as a coach is, I mean, I want the best athletes playing tennis that we can. You know, I mean, I can teach an athlete to play tennis. You know what I mean? We don't always have those, you know, tennis through and through kids, those kind of thoroughbred tennis kids like the O'Gormans and the Lincolns and the places like that. You know, but it's fun to see athletes, you know, start to do something with their buddies and start to enjoy it. You know, and that's the biggest thing is I try to make it as fun as possible for the kids, and they make it fun themselves just with their great attitudes and things like that. So, you know, we're definitely a program. We get to play in the Metro Conference. We get to play in the ESD Conference that, you know, has a lot of tough competition. You know, we get to play against the best schools in the state nonstop. You know, and that makes us better players. So by now at the state tournament, you know, we're ready to go.
You know, in a school the size of yours too, I'm sure there are a lot of athlete sharing going on because, I mean, the kids have to jump in there and play 2 or 3. Absolutely.
You know, and I'd much rather have a kid that's an athlete, that's a competitor, than someone who's just a tennis player per se. You know, we have some of those kids and it takes them longer to, you know, learn how to win and break through and things like that. You know, when you've played basketball in state championships, when you've been a football player, when you've been a cross-country athlete, hockey player, whatever, you know, that gets you ready to compete. I don't care what you're doing. You know, and that breeds success throughout your whole programs. You know, and you know, over the last few years, Brandon Valley's had a lot of success. You know, and not just in tennis also, but in all of our sports. You know, we've been pretty competitive, you know, across the board, especially in boys athletics, and that's something that, you know, definitely breeds success in our tennis program also. When you get kids that are multi-sport athletes like that.
So you haven't been there a long time. Tell us a little bit about your tennis background.
I graduated from Aberdeen Roncalli in 2007. Played for Coach Judy Rosado there. Came back and coached with her for 2 years or so. She passed away of cancer 3 years ago now, and I took over that season for her when I was up in Aberdeen finishing my degree at Northern State. And then I came down here. Coach Schleckaway had an opportunity for me to come down here, and I became a teacher at Brandon Valley. I coached with Mark for 1 year, and then I came, and then I was able to take over the program, and I've been the head coach there for the last 2 years. And, you know, last year had some success with a lot of players that, you know, those guys had developed before me. You know, Coach Gladys with the girls and then Coach Schleckaway with the boys. And it's been great to be able to come into a program, you know, with some really great players in it and just kind of see what we can do with that, you know, so, yeah.
So what's your, if you had to pick one favorite thing about coaching tennis, what would that be?
Just the camaraderie that the boys have together. You know, you get to have, you know, you spend summers together, you spend all this time together, and you get to have different relationships with the kids than you do maybe in a football team or a basketball team. You know, it's so fun to see those kids kind of grow and mature through what you're, you know, through what you're doing. You know, making it fun for the kids. You know, those long road trips in the car, you just spend time with them. You know, and that's the fun thing for me. You know, yeah, winning is great, and you know, some of the success individually and as a team we've had is great. You know, but I mean, getting to know those kids and seeing them grow and mature, you know, through a game that's very mentally taxing. You know, they get to grow, you know, mature as individuals through that, you know, and the relationships that you have. I mean, there's tennis people all over here, you know, that if you've been a part of South Dakota tennis for a while, you get to know and you get to see people, and that's my most favorite thing about it is, you know, the relationships that you have and the people that, you know, truly care about what you're doing and where you're at, you know, and that's something that's really, really special that, you know, not just at Brandon Valley, but at South Dakota tennis as a whole. You know, it's a lot of fun to, you know, to do that stuff. So.
Well, we won't improve on that statement at all. Mike, I really want to thank you for spending a few minutes, and I'm sure we'll be talking with you plenty in the future.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot.